Hi everyone and welcome to another video from Danka Praktik. In this video you'll see how to make a pillowcase. It's pretty easy to do, even if you don't have any sewing experience, and if you do, even better. So stay tuned.
Danka Praktik.
Of course, the first thing you'll need is the cloth for making the pillowcase. In this case, we're using cotton cloth as it is the most comfortable material. In your case, use a material that suits you best. Also, we're using cloth that has convenient measures, so there won't be much leftover scrap. We recommend that you do the same if possible. Besides this, you'll need a measuring tape, some chalk, scissors, and of course a home sewing machine. There are two basic ways to take measures for this pillowcase. Either have a sewing pattern and use it, or, like in this case, use an old pillowcase and simply copy it. We recommend this other method as it is much easier. Just put the old pillowcase over the cloth and then take the measurements. When measuring, be sure to leave some overlap for the seams. In this case, it's about 2 centimeters. You can leave more if it suits you to avoid making lots of scraps. Once you've measured everything, use the chalk and mark the measurements onto the cloth. In this case, since the cloth is of convenient size, we just have to cut it to the proper length and leave the width as it is. Now that the cloth is cut to the needed size, it's time to make the pillowcase. Before you start, make sure that the cloth is turned onto the hidden side, not the right side. The first step is to make a seam allowance for the buttons along the length of the cloth. In this case, the allowance is 2.5 centimeters. After measuring, sew the stitches. Once this is done, fold the cloth and sew both ends together. Face the ends like this and make sure they are aligned precisely. At this point, make measurements for the future pillow pockets. Again, best use the old pillowcase for comparison. In this case, the pockets are about 15 centimeters long, plus 1 centimeter is left over for the seam. Take measures for the buttons also. Again, best to copy the old pillowcase, but you can place the buttons as you please as long as they hold the pillowcase properly. On the sewing machine, you can change the presser foot and use the one specifically made for holes, but in this case we'll use the other presser foot. Also, set the sewing machine to sew holes. We'll first make the buttonholes. When you finish sewing them, cut open the holes. Next, make the mentioned pockets on both sides of the pillowcase. Stitch them lengthways so you can additionally stitch in width also to make the pocket stronger. Now we'll sew the pillowcase in with. Fold the cloth so the seams with the buttonholes and where the future buttons will be match. In this case, there is no allowance for the width seams as there is for the length seams. One more tip when sewing the width seams, don't start both seams from the same corner. This will help the pillowcase look more equal and be less deformed. In this case, we will leave the width seams with a rough finish as, and we'll show you this later, will give them the final nice touch. At this point, you can push the tip of the pockets outwards. You can use the scissors carefully to do this. It would be good to fold the end of the seams to get a nice future hem. You can do this using an iron also, which is more precise. Now sew the seam that goes around 3 sides of the pillowcase. We're making a 2.5 centimeter seam just like on the old pillowcase. This seam has both an aesthetic function but also serves to make a proper edge when the pillow is inserted. At this point, the pillowcase is virtually finished. The last major step is to sew the buttons on it. The positions for the buttons are determined by the button openings we've already made. Use the chalk and mark the center of every button opening. This way you'll get the center of the future button position. If you have a presser foot specially made for buttons, use it. Also, make sure to set the sewing machine for sewing buttons and set the feet properly. Put the button on the mark and sew it on. This is how it looks when the buttons are finished. Now let's see our final result. In this case, we have a pillow that is a bit smaller than the pillowcase, but it doesn't look bad. So, as you can see, the whole procedure is nothing special. Among seamstresses, it is considered routine work. Even if you don't have much experience around this, but you have a sewing machine, it's nice work for practice and getting the hang of sewing and measuring. So that's it for this time. We hope the video helps. Please like and subscribe. It's a huge help for what we're doing. Thanks for watching and thanks for your time.